Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation with Citron, and Citron just got a brand new update. At the time of filming, Citron release version 0.10.0 is the latest and greatest version. So they say here, this release focuses on mobile enhancements, input improvements, and critical bug fixes while expanding game compatibility and platform stability. And take a look under cross-emulator collaboration. TSR Barry, a Ryujinx developer, initial implementation for Skyline-dependent mod support. And then there's also stuff from JPikachu and Mofeet for CTGP DX compatibility. And to build on that, listen to this here. We continue our commitment to transparent development and proper attribution. This release includes contributions adapted from the Eden Emulator project, properly credited above. We believe the entire emulation ecosystem thrives when teams collaborate and acknowledge each other's work. Let me know your thoughts about that one in the comments below. Under major features, they say they've enhanced online functionality based on official SwitchBrew documentation, complete account service implementation, proper user account handling, LDN, local network services, local multiplayer support for compatible games, new firmware stubs, and also improved network stability, more reliable online connections. For the user interface, they say the entire theme system was overhauled. There's a whole bunch of fixes, improvements, and even more. On Android here, they say better support for diverse GPU hardware. There's a whole lot more here we didn't even go over, and if you're interested, wanted to learn more about it, like everything we talk about, links will be within the GitHub link in the bottom of the description below. I don't hide my sources. And speaking about sharing and success, next up we're talking about Windows emulation on Android with GameHub. And GameHub seems to be taking some notes from GameHub Lite. Could be wrong about this one, but I don't think so. So for those who may or may not be aware, I would assume most people are aware because we talk about GameHub and GameHub Lite quite a bit on this channel. But anyways, GameHub Lite is a complete privacy-focused modification of the GameHub Android app. The project removes all tracking, authentication, and bloat while adding an automated patcher for future updates. And GameHub Lite is an unofficial modification of GameHub. There is a very interesting post up on Reddit emulation on Android, and it's titled GameHub's latest update. I guess they're aware about GameHub Lite, LOL. And there's a picture of the app GameHub being scanned through VirusTotal with nothing in it. The poster also included the results of a previous APK for GameHub scanned through VirusTotal, and there were a lot different results overall. Now, VirusTotal isn't the be-all, end-all in terms of detecting whether or not something is malicious and stealing data, but at the same time here, it does look like the GameHub app has been cleaned up a little bit. It is worth noting here, GameHub still requires an account and all of that stuff, so there still might be some tracking and privacy concerns with it. But at the same time here, if this is true in terms of before and after, and if they did remove a bunch of stuff, that would be a huge win for GameHub overall, and I'm really glad they did it. Now, we're going to have to wait to see what happens moving forward in terms of whether or not GameHub will re-add that stuff back in or what's going on in terms of overall tracking. But at the same time, I don't think it's completely unfeasible to think they took note of the GameHub Lite project and also took note of a possible loss in user base to the GameHub Lite project and made some adjustments. What do you think about that, though? Let me know in the comments below. And still talking about emulation here, next up we're talking about ROMM, or ROMM, or subscribe to Mr. Sujano, depending on how you wanted to pronounce it. Anyways, ROMM just got a brand new update, and ROMM is a beautiful, powerful, self-hosted ROM manager and player. And at the time of filming, the latest update is not version 4.3.2, which you can see on the screen. It's version 4.4.0 Beta 1. It is worth noting this is a pre-release, so there may be bugs and issues with it. And it does look like ROMM got a whole lot nicer looking. They've got alternative box art. They say spice up your collection with 3D, physical, and mixed media box art, courtesy of Screen Scraper. Start by configuring which media assets to download in your config.yml file. And take a look here for the images on that. So you got the 2D box and then the 3D box. I kind of prefer the 2D box, but I think a lot of people would appreciate the 3D box look. There's also a pretty big performance improvement. They say here multiple games under the same platform can now be scanned in parallel, significantly reducing the time required to scan large libraries. And that's all thanks to multi-threaded library scanning. On top of that, you can now manually edit metadata. They say the game's edit window now allows you to directly edit the metadata IDs and JSON values. And there's even more in here. This is a pretty big update for ROMM. Next up here, we're still talking about emulation. We're talking about C64 and Amiga emulation with Denise. And Denise just got a brand new update to version 2.7. So with this update, they've added in support for the blazing fast 2 MHz. They say here C64 and C128 mode. Examples: Sonic, SNK vs. Capcom, C128 version, Eye of the Beholder, and Mario. They've also added in screenshot generation. On top of that, they say here support MP3 for audio recording, and they've also added in rewind support. You can rewind a few seconds while playing. And speaking about new stuff and still talking about emulation, next up here we're talking about PS2 emulation on Android with ARMSX2. And ARMSX2 seems to be getting a very interesting feature that I think a lot of people will appreciate. Now, it is worth noting, at the time of filming, the latest and greatest release of ARMSX2 is version 1.0.3. But with the upcoming version 1.0.4, they say it's minor, but one that brought a lot of collaborators. This release officially adds front-end support with ESDEs soon to take advantage of it. On top of that, they say it features a new adaptive and full container icon, and also a big thanks to Truxarian, who you may know is behind NetherSX2, for his new and updated game fixes and controller fixes. This version, although it's unreleased, is available on their Discord, and if you wanted to learn more about that, their Discord invite is right on their main website page, armsx2.net, not armsx2.com, which is a malicious website. Next up, we're talking about N64 stuff. Kinda. We're talking about a port of an N64 game to PC, Duke Nukem 0 Hour Recompiled. And Duke Nukem 0 Hour Recompiled just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, alpha version 0.0.3 is the latest update. This is still pretty early on in terms of overall development. And as for what's new, they've implemented the controller pack so the game can now be saved. It is playable 30 FPS on 60Hz screens, 60 FPS on 120Hz screens, and 120 FPS on 240Hz screens, and so on. Moving on, and we're talking about RetroBat. And for those who may be unaware, RetroBat is a software distribution designed for emulation and to be the easiest way to enjoy your collection on your Windows computer. The supplied emulation station interface is fully functional and highly customizable. You can run all your games from it and search online for visuals to enhance the presentation of your collection. And RetroBat just got an update to version 7.5. So with this latest and greatest update, they say this is the latest major update for 2025. The next version will happen in 2026. And also taking a look here, they've bumped up the version of a bunch of their emulators, and they've also added in some new stuff here, like B-Stone for Blake Stone, Namco 3XX with Technopaired. They've also added in DOSBox staging, Xenia Edge for Xbox 360. Ryujinx can now be upgraded to version 1.3.3. It has support for Eden and Citron. There's a whole bunch of fixes here and a whole bunch of new features, like BizHawk, add microphone on L2 button for NDS. CMU, add toggle screen button, and CMU, add microphone options. From Mezen, there's the option to select the Rumble controller, and there's even more stuff in here. This is a pretty big release for RetroBat. And speaking about big releases, next up we're talking about the upcoming Anbernic RG DS. And we've got more details thanks to some very keen eyes over on the Retro Handhelds Discord and obviously the retrohandhelds.gg website. So for specs on this thing, it's got a 4-inch IPS display at 640 by 480. The processor on this one is an RK3568. I didn't expect that. The Mali G52 GPU, it's got 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of storage. And the battery should last for around 6 hours. The operating system on this one will be Android, and they say here that the pricing starts at $108.99 for the no games version, and they're expecting the pre-order price to push this under $100. Let me know your thoughts about the Anbernic RG DS in the comments below. Now, this might be a hot take, and I might be out in left field on this one when I say this. If I am, let me know. But I don't think that this is going to be a very popular device overall, given the price point and the specs. I mean, the AYN Thor, which is like 2.5 times the price, at the same time is a considerably more capable device and arguably far more interesting. And even possibly the 2DS46 that was recently announced from Magic X, that has a couple of different designs that's aiming for 90% Nintendo 3DS emulation compatibility. I mean, there may just be some far more interesting offers out there. Let me know your thoughts about that one in the comments below. And speaking about hardware, next up here we're talking about Corsair, who have just announced a brand new leverless fight stick. This one is called the Novablade Pro. Now, I'll be fully transparent with you. I have done a number of fight stick reviews on this channel. I've done a lot of fight stick content, and Corsair did reach out to me and ask if I'd like to review this thing. And I thought their email was a scam just based on the process that I had to do and the stuff I had to fill out and the stuff that they're asking me to download and take a look at. So I just ignored it, and it turns out it's 100% real, and that one's on me. So anyways, without getting too off topic there, they do say the Novablade Pro is a Hall effect stick. It's got 15 adjustable magnetic keys that deliver clean, precise inputs in any fighting game. Corsair's ultra-responsive MGX hyperdrive magnetic switches have adjustable actuation points from 0.1 millimeters to 4 millimeters and rapid trigger technology that resets keys quicker. And I would see the adjustable actuation points will be very interesting and probably very attractive to a lot of people in order to customize their sticks. This thing can be used in wired or wireless modes, so Bluetooth and 2.4G for wireless, which I think a lot of people would be attracted with the 2.4G option if you're playing on PC. Probably wired is best, but 2.4G is also pretty darn good. And for Android and other systems, I'm guessing Bluetooth will be alright as well. On top of that, the buttons are individually lit, allowing for a whole lot of customization. This will be compatible with the PS5 and PS4 and PC. Surprisingly, no Switch. And also surprisingly, they don't list out something like Android, which I would assume it'd be compatible with given the fact that this has Bluetooth in it. Anyways here, overall this does look really interesting, especially given the price. So based on what I'm seeing here, it is priced at $249.99, so basically $250. And while you think that is expensive, in terms of fight sticks, I would say this is pretty normal. I'm guessing this is going to be very popular in the fighting game community, and who knows, maybe some people who aren't in the community will want it for just casual use. Let me know your thoughts. And continuing to talk about hardware and arguably cool looking stuff, next up we're talking about Sapphire and their Edge AI mini PCs that are powered by the AMD Ryzen AI 300 series. Taking a look at the overall design here, and there is an abundance of ports which I really like to see. Unfortunately, I don't know the pricing for these things just yet. And speaking about prices, next up we're talking about ASUS and their upcoming ROG XG Mobile refresh for 2025. Now, taking a look, there are two different variants on this one, the RTX 5070 Ti laptop GPU and also the 5090 laptop GPU variants, and we now have pricing and release dates, I guess November 17th. The pricing for the 5070 Ti laptop GPU is $1,300 overall, and the 5090 laptop GPU is $2,500. These are not cheap. So for those who may be unaware, at a high level here, not even a high level, just basically the ROG XG Mobile is an external GPU that can be connected to certain devices via Thunderbolt to really boost graphical performance. And it can be connected to things like certain gaming handhelds. Now, in previous years, these are known to not necessarily be inexpensive devices overall, so for the pricing here, I'm not at all surprised. Let me know your thoughts about these and the pricing in the comments below and the fact that they're soon to be released. And speaking about releases, next up here, we're talking about something significantly cheaper, and that's the Atari 2600 Plus Pac Man Edition. And this just released. For those who may be unaware, this is a console that can play Atari 2600 games, just a kind of a new version of it. I mean, they say here on Amazon, backward and forward compatible, play retro games just like you remember them on a system upgraded for today. Play both Atari 2600 and 7800 games on this 2600 Plus console. Compatible with everything in the Plus platform, as well as most original accessories and cartridges. It does include a wireless joystick and unfortunately doesn't really include a whole lot in terms of games. It includes Pac Man Double Feature 2-in-1 game cartridge, and that's about it. I'm not going to lie here, I think this is a really niche product and I don't necessarily think it's going to be overly popular. However, if you've got a pretty big Atari collection with a whole bunch of different games and wanted to play them on a possibly not a super old console that may or may not have issues with it, this might be up your alley just to connect to a modern TV and enjoy things that way. I mean, it still plays the original games. I don't know how good it plays them, but I am curious. Next up here, we're talking about a game on Steam, or a game formerly on Steam, and that is Condemned Criminal Origins. And this is just a heads up that this game has been delisted from the Steam store. It was released back in 2006 on Steam to a very positive overall review score. From my understanding, there are some keys out there for purchase that I think still work, but I don't know how long they're going to work for, and I don't know how long this game will be available for to be re-downloaded to someone's library. Anyways here, taking a look at a review from back in 2013, this person says Condemned is a masterpiece. Imagine the Fear-style atmosphere with slower-paced, melee-focused combat. Great visuals for its time, great story, great sounds, great everything. Buy it. I'm curious to see if this game makes the GOG preservation program. And speaking about heads-ups, last up here we're talking about Saints Row. Now before we get into this, I just want to point out this is something not to get overly excited about. Nothing may come of this. Something may come of this, and it may take years to come to fruition. We really don't know yet. There's not a whole lot to go on. It's currently just a pitch. So just be mindful of that. And listen to this. This is from Chris from BitPlanet Games. I've been asked to create a pitch for a Saints Row prequel. Guys and gals, I have hopeful news. I've been asked to create a pitch for a Saints Row reboot. I can't say anything more than that, but my dreams for this game just became a little more than just dreams. And also here, it won't be a VR game. For those who may or may not be aware, Chris directed Saints Row 1, so that could be some extremely exciting news. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below, and again, don't get overly excited just yet. Nothing may come of this. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.